the Wild Swans. In a sun-drenched kingdom lived Princess Elisa and her 11 handsome brothers. They were as happy as the day was long, their laughter echoing through the castle halls from dawn until dusk. Inseparable siblings. The 12 royal children were inseparable. They spent their days riding spirited horses through the meadows, studying maps of faraway lands and playing spirited games of hide-and-seek in the royal gardens. The new queen. Their happiness was interrupted when their father, the king, brought home a new queen. She was beautiful, with eyes as dark as midnight, but her heart was as cold as winter stone. The wicked spell. The wicked queen grew jealous of the children's love for one another. With a wave of her hand and a cruel whisper, she cast a terrible spell, turning the 11 princes into magnificent white swans. Elisa banished. "Now be gone from my sight," the queen shrieked at Elisa. She banished the princess from the castle, forcing her out into the dark, lonely woods, with nothing but the clothes on her back. Alone in the woods. Lost and alone, Elisa wandered for days. She slept in hollow logs and ate wild berries, her fine dress torn and stained. Though she was frightened, the thought of her beloved brothers gave her strength. The swans appear. Her long journey finally led her to the edge of the vast, sparkling sea. As the sun began to set, a flock of 11 white swans with golden crowns upon their heads flew across the sky, and Elisa felt a strange, hopeful pull in her heart. Moonlit reunion. As darkness fell, the swans landed on the shore and transformed back into her 11 brothers. Elisa ran to them, and they shared a tearful, joyous reunion under the light of the moon. The brothers' curse. Her brothers told her of their wretched curse. By day, they were forced to fly as swans, but each night they could become human again. They warned Elisa that they would soon have to fly across the sea to a new land. The fairy's secret. That night, a kind old fairy appeared in Elisa's dream. She told Elisa the secret to breaking the curse. She must gather stinging nettles from a graveyard, spin them into thread, and knit 11 shirts, all while remaining completely silent. Gathering nettles. With brave determination, Elisa set out to find the nettles. The fairy had guided her to an old, forgotten graveyard, where the stinging plants grew in abundance over the ancient stones. Silent suffering. Her task was painful. Her delicate hands blistered and burned as she gathered the stinging nettles, but she did not make a sound, for her brothers' lives depended on her silence. Cave workshop. She found a small, dry cave by the sea to use as her workshop. Day and night she worked, her silent tears sometimes falling, as she spun the painful fibers into pure white thread and began to knit the first shirt. The prince finds Elisa. One day, a handsome young prince was hunting in the forest when his hounds led him to Elisa's cave. He was startled to find the silent girl with noble features and painfully raw hands, captivated by silence. The prince was captivated by her gentle beauty and kindness. He spoke to her softly, asking her name and story, but she could only look at him with her sad, expressive eyes, unable to speak a word. Journey to the castle. He felt in his heart that she was good and true, and he could not bear to leave her in the wilderness. He asked her to come with him to his castle to be his guest, and after a moment's hesitation, she nodded her head in acceptance. Guest at the castle. At the grand castle, Elisa was dressed in silks and jewels, and everyone admired her beauty. But she was lonely in the bustling court, her heart aching for her lost brothers. Secret knitting. The prince loved her dearly, but was puzzled by her strange, secret task. Every night, she would sneak away to a hidden room to continue knitting the nettle shirts, which she had brought with her in a bundle. The treasurer's suspicion. A wicked treasurer, who was jealous of the prince's love for the silent maiden, grew suspicious. He decided to spy on her, hoping to find some fault that would turn the prince against her. Lies in the graveyard. He followed her one night and saw her slip out of the castle and into the church graveyard to gather more nettles. The treasurer twisted what he saw, rushing to the prince with a wicked lie. "She is a witch," he whispered. "Condemned as witch." The prince's heart was torn, but the treasurer had stirred the people into a fearful mob. Believing the lies, they condemned the silent, beautiful girl to be burned at the stake as a witch. Knitting in prison. Even in her dark prison cell, Elisa worked tirelessly. They had let her keep her bundle of nettles and shirts, and her fingers flew faster than ever, racing against time to finish the very last sleeve of the 11th shirt. The march to death. On the day of her execution, Elisa was placed in a cart and paraded through the streets. The crowd jeered and threw stones, but she saw only the unfinished shirt in her hands, her needles clicking to the very end. The Swan Rescue. As she was being led to the pyre, a shadow fell over the square. A flock of 11 white swans swooped down from the sky. With her last ounce of strength, Elisa threw the finished shirts over them. The curse broken. In a flash of light, the swans transformed back into the 11 handsome princes. The truth was revealed, and Elisa, her voice finally returned, married the remorseful prince. And they all lived happily ever after. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share for more fun English lessons.